Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Poems with PJ. This is it. This is day 9. I'm losing track entirely of even what the days are. I woke up this morning, I didn't know what date it was. Somebody had to remind me it was Friday. And it's getting really confusing, isn't it? Because we're not going to school and we're not doing all the things that we would usually do. So now our days are very, very different. Well, one thing that's staying the same is every day that it's a weekday, we are going to be doing Poems with PJ here from home. So, first off today, I thought we would do a poem all about these. Yes, and these are beanbags. All right, now beanbags are fantastic for learning to juggle with, and they're what I learned to juggle with. Right, when I first started, I thought I'm going to learn to juggle, and I've got one beanbag, and I'm going to throw it up in the air, and I'm going to be the world's best juggler. That's what I thought. 1, 2, 3, hey, hop! Oh! And it didn't work. And then I dropped it over and over again. And it kept making a thud sound on the floor and a thud sound on the floor. And my mum, who was downstairs, must have been going, "What are you doing up there?" Because all she could hear was doof and doof and doof every time the beanbag went splat on the floor. Until eventually I learned to catch one. And then I learned to catch two. And then I learned to catch 3. All at the same time. It was amazing. And so I remembered all those years later what it was like learning to juggle. And this is called the world's best juggler. I tried to learn to juggle, but they fell down on the floor. 3 beanbags that I dug out down from deep inside my drawer. They didn't make much sound as they did land upon the ground, so all my mum could hear downstairs was agonising sounds of ah and ooh and boo, and why is this so tough? I tried and tried 100 times, but had I had enough? No, I'd not be beaten. Trying time and time again, until that magic moment, that awesome feeling when I did it. I could juggle, so I quickly ran downstairs. "Mum, mum, mum," I shouted. I was ready and prepared to give a great performance, a circus in our house. The crowd, my mum, were quiet now, as quiet as a mouse. I threw them up, and they hit the floor. But Mum clapped anyway. I might not be a clown yet, but I made her smile today. So there you go. That was called The World's Best Juggler. And it's the opening poem from The Man in the Silly Hat, which was one of mine and Thomas's books that we released just last year. Now, I mentioned that Thomas and I, in previous episodes, that Thomas and I are working on a brand new book. And if you remember yesterday, we were talking about Shannon and Simon, all right, who are our 2 sloths. And Thomas did a fantastic illustration, a picture of Shannon and Simon, and we're going to get that ready for you for next week to show you, because we're going to be showing you the pictures that Thomas is drawing. And as you can see up here, we've got our gallery of pictures that people have sent in or have drawn, okay, and we're going to be creating all sorts of things together. So there's all sorts of stuff going on. Now, I've also been reading you loads and loads of poems from other people. And I've got 2 by other poets today. One that really caught my eye because we've had some hot weather. And it reminded me of this poem by Grace Nichols. The reason it reminded me of this poem is it's about someone's gran visiting England. And usually when somebody visits England, it's freezing cold. But at the moment it's quite nice. But this is about somebody from the Caribbean coming to visit England. My gran was a Caribbean lady, as Caribbean as could be. She came across to visit us in Shoreham on the sea. She'd hardly put her suitcase down when she began a digging spree out in our back garden to see what she could see. And she found the ground was as groundy, and the frogs were as froggy, and the earthworms were as worthy, and the weeds were as weedy, and the seeds were as seedy, and the bees were as busy as those back home. And she paused from her digging, and she wondered, and she looked at her spade, and she pondered, and then she stood by a rose as a slug passed her toes. And she called to my dad as she struck pose after pose. "Boy, come and take my photo. The place is cold, but wherever there's God's earth, I'm at home." And I thought that was lovely, because even though we come from all sorts of places across the world, actually the ground that we stand on is probably the same wherever you're from. Okay, and that was called My Gran Visits England by Grace Nichols. And you probably spotted that I'm reading again from Michael Rosen's A to Z of poetry, which is one of my favourite poetry collections. Now, I've also had some requests for favourite poems, and one of them came from my mum, who I know watches every day. Hello, Mum, how are you doing? She's requested something by A. Milne. Now, this is a book that I've had ever since I was a teeny tiny boy. This was actually, I think, a christening present for me from somebody. And it's one of the Winnie the Pooh collection. It's called Now We Are Six. And this is a poem all about Christopher Robin. It's just called The End. When I was 1, I was just begun. And when I was 2, I was nearly new. When I was 3, I was hardly me. And when I was 4, I was not much more. And when I was 5, I was just alive. But now I am 6. I'm as clever as clever. So I think I'll be 6 now, forever and ever. So there you go, that's Now We Are 6. And it was illustrated by E.H. Shepherd and written by A. Milne. And if you manage to get a hold of these, there's a whole collection of these poems, 2 collections of poetry and 2 Winnie the Pooh collections in a big Winnie the Pooh box. And I may well do some more by A. Milne in some days to come, because they'd be absolutely fantastic. Now, you're probably thinking, where are the poems by the children, Paul? Where are the poems by the people at home? Where are my poems I've sent to you, Paul? They're just here. I've got them down here. We've had loads and loads, as ever, of poems, and it's been really hard. I've had to say to people, look, I can't do them in today's show. I'll have to do them in tomorrow's show. And this one actually came into us a couple of days ago. It's from Caitlin. How are you doing out there, Caitlin? Now, Caitlin has been working on imagining what it must be like for something to come out of an egg. I think it was some of the work that her school teachers set her. And in this, she's imagined what it's like coming out of this egg for a little chick. And she's used some brilliant repetition in here to try and give across an idea of it being like a poem as the chick comes out of the egg. A chick that goes chirp, chirp, chirp. It will find friends during Lent. It will hop, hop, hop during Lent and have bright, bright yellow feathers. In the hot, hot sun, it meets lots of kind, nice, nice new friends. She plays, plays, plays with her nice new friends, and they hop, hop, hop and waddle, waddle and swim, swim all the way back to the cosy, cosy nest and to the deep, deep underground and swim back to the long, long water reeds. And I really like that poem because the way that you use Caitlin there, the same words and just repeated them. Sometimes repeated them 2 times, sometimes repeated them 3 times. It was lovely because it helped me catch a breath and think about the thing that was coming next as well, and really gave me a nice idea of what it was like in the long reeds and the deep underground and the big amount of playing that everyone was doing. It's fantastic. Well done. So that one was by Caitlin. And then we've got 2 here by Nima, first of all, and then another one by Torin. Now, Nima, it's really lovely as well. I know you've been watching since day 1 as well, Nima, so it's lovely to have you send a poem in for us. And these ones are 2 different types of poems. They're short ones, but they're about dreams and about our imaginations. This first one's got some lovely language in it. In your mind, dream of a waterfall near a rainbow, and all of your sad dreams will go to an end. So that's a lovely poem to think about. Just imagine a rainbow and then all of your dreams just coming to an end. That's a lovely thing. All of the bad ones get shuffled away. And then Torin, your one is called Fairy Tales. In a dream, you can invent your own fairy tale. You can have a pet dragon or a walking tree friend. You could battle a witch or cross an ogre's bridge. You can do anything in a fairy tale. So those ones were by Torin and Nima, and they are absolutely fantastic. Loads of brilliant imagination there, right? And you really transported me to some magical worlds in those poems. Well done, they're absolutely fantastic. If you've got any poems that you'd like me to read out on Poems with PJ, please get in contact. It's pauljenkinspoet@gmail.com, and you can send them to us that way, or you can send them to us through the Facebook page, and we'll get them printed out. And if they've got a picture attached to them, then we'll put the picture up in the gallery as well. And if you've got the words, then I'll say them out loud here on the show. Now, to finish off today, you are possibly thinking, well, hold on a minute, Paul. You haven't added anything to your wonderful collection of animals that are taking up your stairs and people are now tripping over as they're going up the stairs. Right? We've had to be very careful of moving the frying pan from earlier in the week so that people didn't fall across the frying pan. Well, today we have one of these. Yes, this is a penguin. And today we have a poem for you all about penguins. Because I think penguins are a magnificent animal. Of course, they're a bird that can't fly. What's going on with you? Why can't you fly? It's got nothing to say to me. Penguins waddle. And penguins toddle. And penguins are a great role model, as penguins keep their heads held high, their beaks placed up towards the sky. A tidy bird, they take no mess. Their diet healthy, loads of fish. So I think tonight I'll wish I was a penguin, pootling around, my flippers firmly on the ground. So there you go. That's my poem all about penguins, right? And if you've got a poem about a favourite animal or a favourite toy or something that you've got at home, please do send them our way. Remember, it's pauljenkinspoet@gmail.com. Okay, well, thank you very much. We've got a couple of days break for what we used to call the weekend, but now kind of feels like it's every other day, doesn't it? So Saturday and Sunday we won't be with you, but Monday at 4 o'clock we'll be back. So send us all your poems and come back for Poems with PJ. See you all soon.